welcome back to another episode of the LANCESCURV show. It's 11:31 here in West Africa, nestled in the mountains of the eastern region, right? It's beautiful, it's quiet, and I'm so glad to be alive, and I'm so glad to be here to enjoy such a quality of life. My love and concern, my good energy always goes back to the people who I was born and raised with in the United States. Although this is the home of my lineage, I'm proper to have concern for all people all over the world who are connected to me, whether it's recent or in the past. Just got to untangle all of these wires in front of me that I didn't realize. I got like 2 mouses here that I use to operate. You know, the big talk now has been about the inauguration with Donald Trump, and soon we'll be back to business as usual, and the hate will continue on him. I don't understand it. Anybody who wants to do good for a country should be revered, but that's just not the way it goes in America. But I wanted to speak about something that's kind of not being talked about, because the rush on social media is that whatever's hot is what you want to talk about what's trending. But that's not always the wisest thing to do. I mean, people are going after money. They want to get hits. They want to get likes. They want to get subscribers. But very few are really in it for the long haul, as they often quit when they don't reach their financial goals. Well, today's program, and let me flash the banner again, is, what did I even put the banner up? Wow. Where'd the banner go? Okay, that's where it is. Okay. I'm a little not sleepy, but I'm ultra relaxed because I had a full productive day. Now, boycotts, are they a waste of time in 2025? Why would I bring that up? Let me just tell you what the visuals are all about. We have the Reverend Al Sharpton, and I've spoken about him a lot in the past. And I'll just say that I don't dislike anybody, but you know, when it comes time to how we feel about things and our perspectives on things, we have to tell the truth. Okay. And I remember him, I'll just tell you a little story really quick. I remember him at a Chinese restaurant right next door to where David Letterman had his show. And this had to be in the early 80s, 84, I think it was, 1984. And he was really like a local guy. He wasn't known nationally and internationally like he is now, but he was doing the protests and he had his inner circles. And I guess that's what forged his foundation. I knew him as the guy who wore the wires, I believe, for the FBI. But you won't find any of that on the internet, as most of that stuff has been scrubbed from the internet. Now, I'm not here to smear anybody, because if you do something, you did it, and I'm not smearing you if I talk about it, if it's a fact. But he's going through his changes, and he's been known to do his boycotts. And Jesse Jackson, Reverend Jesse Jackson, and Reverend Al Sharpton have been known to, I would say, kind of shake down big companies, corporations that may have done something wrong to one person or a group of people, and take them to court, and they have to pay up all of this money. And I believe these guys have kept money in their pockets because of that, which is not too cool. But if you do help a group of people or help people, lawyers do it. I don't mind your expenses being paid, and maybe you're sustained until the next time when you can help somebody out because of your positioning, your platform, or your notoriety. But really, is boycotting effective, or is it any good, or is it a waste of time in 2025? And why did I bring this up? I was kind of strolling. No, I don't stroll. That's a word that has funny meanings to it, right? I was scrolling through Melanin Envy in the latest news category. You can go to Melanin Envy. You can find it on LANCESCURV.com right under the header, and under where it says the conference line, it's a little banner with black women's faces that says Melanin Envy. Click on that, register, make your profile. It's alive and popping. I'm there every day. Reach out to me there. Add me as a friend. If you come on in and anybody new, I'll add you as a friend. We can communicate there. But I was scrolling down. I have maybe about 150 websites that I take the news from as soon as it happens and put it right on Melanin Envy. So you want to go there instead of surfing all over and you miss things. So I look for, I wouldn't call it the secondary stories, but the ones that are kind of flying under the radar when you have something big like Donald Trump and his inauguration. So I found this story and I thought it'd be very interesting to talk about. Let me see who's here. Landon Price, welcome on in. Welcome on in. Glad you're here. There'll be more coming soon. So I'm kind of filibustering right now before we get into the meat of everything, right? So I'm going to go to my notes like I always do. I prepare a little article, and that way I make sure to get all my points in. And there's a couple of other things we'll talk about after this. And then after that, I'm going to turn myself in and succumb to the sweetness of the pillow, get some rest. I want to jump up early tomorrow and get more done. But anyway, here we go. Reverend Al Sharpton recently started the conversation around diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is known as DEI. And with this particular show, you probably won't know where I'm going with this, because I'm definitely going to take it places. I'm going to shut off this other computer. I was supposed to be going live on Instagram, but for some reason it's malfunctioning. I like to always keep up, but afterward I will always upload it to Instagram. But when I put shows on different platforms, I don't put every single show on every single platform. You got to use your fingers a little bit and help me out, right? But again, diversity, equity, and inclusion. With his call for a boycott of corporations eliminating these initiatives, Sharpton's recent speech, delivered at the National Action Network's rally in Washington, D.C. on Martin Luther King Day, was a direct response to Donald Trump's executive order ending DEI programs at the federal level. While Sharpton emphasized the historical significance of DEI as a remedy for institutionalized racism, I argue it's time for Black Americans to remove the training wheels of DEI and affirmative action. Without unity, these tools, no matter how well-intentioned, will never lead to lasting progress. And that's my opinion now. It may not have been that 5 years ago or 10 years ago, but right now we need to do our own thing and show unity, because it sabotages any outside help that we may get. Sharpton highlighted Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy, noting that DEI principles were designed to combat racial inequality in academia and corporate spaces. He reminded the audience of the systemic exclusion that made such initiatives necessary, stating, "Why do we have DEI? We have DEI because you denied us diversity, you denied us equity, you denied us inclusion." With dozens of Fortune 500 companies like Walmart, McDonald's, and Meta abandoning DEI programs in the wake of the Supreme Court's affirmative action ruling, Sharpton announced plans for the National Action Network to investigate these corporations. Within 90 days, the National Action Network will name 2 companies to target for boycotts, urging Americans to not buy where you are not respected. Sharpton's rhetoric invokes the spirit of past civil rights movements, comparing his proposed boycott to Dr. King and Rosa Parks' historic efforts. Yet, despite the emotional appeal, I believe we need to question whether boycotting and DEI can truly uplift our community without a foundational shift in mindset and unity. While DEI and affirmative action have opened doors for minorities, they cannot substitute for collective self-improvement. Black Americans must confront a painful truth. We are often our own worst enemies. Here are 10 reasons why internal challenges continue to hold us back. Number one, lack of unity. Unlike other communities, we often fail to stand together when it matters most. Disputes over status, identity, and ego prevent us from building a unified front. Number two, jealousy and competition. Instead of celebrating each other's successes, we frequently tear one another down. This infighting weakens our collective progress. Number three, materialism over legacy. We prioritize flashy possessions over long-term wealth-building strategies like land ownership, investments, and education. Number four, intra-community prejudice. Many African Americans harbor biases against Black immigrants from Africa and the Caribbean and beyond, further fragmenting our community. Number five, lack of sacrifice. Progress requires sacrifice, but many are unwilling to forego comfort for the greater good. Number six, dependence on external solutions. DEI and affirmative action are tools, but they are not cures. We cannot rely solely on external policies to fix internal issues. Number seven, failure to support Black businesses. Other communities prioritize keeping their money within their group. We often overlook or undervalue Black-owned enterprises. 8, mimicking negative stereotypes. Media portrayal of Black culture often highlights dysfunction, and we sometimes adopt these harmful narratives rather than rejecting them. Number 9, short-term thinking. Too often, we focus on immediate gratification rather than long-term goals that benefit future generations. Number 10, resistance to collective identity. Many of us reject the notion of being our brother's keeper, failing to realize that community advancement requires shared responsibility. It's a bitter pill to swallow, and many of us don't want to hear it. Many of us don't want to hear it. When you look at the Asians, and many people get angry with me, and I'm going to get emails about, oh, you're talking about the Asians and you're bigging up everybody else. No, I'm not bigging up everybody else. These are principles that we originally had that everybody else has borrowed and used and excelled with. When are the training wheels going to come off? And for those who don't realize what I mean by training wheels, you know when you have a bicycle and you have a child or maybe an adult that doesn't know how to balance on a bicycle, and you have the training wheels that you have the wheel here and you have the 2 training wheels that it comes down and there's a wheel that touches the ground. So in essence, that bicycle becomes a 4-wheel vehicle. And as the months go by, weeks go by, you lift up the training wheels so they don't touch the ground as much. So if you tip to the side, it still holds you up, but you get a sense of balance while you ride this bike. More and more, as you begin to master your balance, you pull the wheels up, you could take them off. Now you don't need them anymore. Black people, melanated people, people of color, brown people, whatever we're referred to, because we do have an identity crisis. When is it that we're going to have to take the training wheels off DEI is a good thing. Affirmative action is a good thing. But when are we going to build our own infrastructure and our own jobs, our own means of employment? Everybody else is making money off of us. Look at Hollywood. Do we own Hollywood? Do we own the music industry? We may have token positions that are higher up to a point. We may have a few artists or a few executives that are propelled by those artists. When the artist falls, they fall. But it's always somebody else benefiting from us. They make millions, if not billions, and have our money in their pockets. But we're so hung up on status and being seen and wanting to perform, which is nothing wrong with that. But it would be better if we perform in our own infrastructure. But as soon as many of us get a taste of a little bit of money, we get straight niggerish. Yes, I said it. We get barbaric. We get basic. We don't look at the long term. We wouldn't need DEI. We wouldn't need affirmative action. We know why it was in place and it benefited some. But even when you get in on the corporate jobs or these places where you need to get in this thing with, we don't care if other people don't like it. But why are we pushing ourselves up on something that somebody else built? And yes, we built the country. We built America. Yes, I know that. And I understand that. But everybody has their own. All I'm saying is that there's so many people who have made so much money off of us, and we're still taking the cab home. We're still bumming around. I'm talking symbolically now. We help everybody get the luxury car, and when we go to the function, they're driving home, and we're sitting there, hey, buddy, could you give me a ride home? When we finance with our blood and our sweat and our tears over the centuries, and we don't have any ownership. And when we do, we have our own come around, hey man, can I get the hook up? Can you hook a brother up? Not knowing that you have a business to run and there's a profit margin and you need those profits to pay your bills. Let me tell you a little story. I couldn't find my little towel, so I got a shirt to wipe the sweat off. Because you don't know, I got 1, 2, 3, 4 lights, 2 computers in front of me. So it's hot. In Orlando, Florida, on Colonial Drive, right off of Pine Hills Road and right off of Kirkman Road, where Kirkman Road ends, and you have Pine Hills Road, I'm forgetting already. I know it so well. You have a Caribbean market. Fine. Big Caribbean market. It's good. Across the street, you have a little strip mall, a collection of stores. And there's a Chinese or rather Asian, but I believe it is Chinese, a Chinese supermarket. And what I learned when I went there being nosy, I'm thinking there's nothing in there for me. Well, the Chinese community and other Asians, they support it. Now, you know, in different states, you may have, like, for example, Florida, license plate. You say you can have Florida, just Florida. And then you can have your county on there, Orange County, Brevard County, right? Volusia County, Daytona Beach, which is Volusia. And I looked at some of these license plates because I look at everything. I notice everything, and I look at it. Whenever I'm somewhere, it's like the Terminator. When you see his view of the world, I can look at a person and tell their height and their weight, how much they got in their pocket, what they're thinking. I'm always evaluating. And in me walking toward this supermarket for my own personal investigative purposes, I noticed that there were license plates that indicated that some of those shoppers drove hundreds of miles. In Florida, there was even some from Georgia Georgia, to come all the way down to Orlando to shop? Well, I figured, well, they're Asian, they're Chinese, maybe there's a specialty item they wanted. But for the most part, what I saw was a camaraderie and a sense of community. Even though they didn't live around each other, there was a sense of community and the camaraderie and the laughter that was in that store. And guess what? They didn't tell me that I couldn't go in there because I'm an African man. No, come on in. How are you? There were products there that I knew, and there were some things that were unique unto the Asian community, but they supported their businesses. And see, price wasn't an issue. I never saw anybody complain about the prices because they knew to have a unified community, you have to have every aspect and facet of what you need for your people. So instead of boycotting, they supported, they built up and created jobs. And to create those jobs, you have to have revenue coming in. And you had people from all over supporting the shops and the stores so that there's revenue to feed their own people. It was beautiful. I wasn't mad at them because they're executing righteous principle that we can do, but we don't. We're envious of each other. I went down the list. We don't support each other. We're materialistic. Our priorities are in the wrong place. And we don't think in the long term. So when other people do it, why do you get mad? When other people come into our neighborhoods, why do you get mad? I'm not saying all of us are on the corner doing nothing. There are many hardworking brothers and sisters in the Black neighborhoods that are doing the right thing, but we're not connected. We have a lot of money collectively. Why are we still symbolically bumming the ride while everybody else gets rich off of us? And then we have an Al Sharpton that says we have to boycott. Well, you know what I mean? Look, even though I said we need to take off the training wheels of DEI and affirmative action, the boycotts don't work anymore. You know why? Because we boycott for a little while and we go back to business as usual. You know what I suggest? I'm not against boycotts. I'm for boycotts. My boycott will be a forever boycott. If it's not us, we ain't dealing. And it has to be gradual because we're still going to need to go and purchase products and do different things. But all these years we complaining about other people not giving us a chance. We need to give ourselves a chance. But we've been programmed to be against each other, and it's working. The Willie Lynch letter is alive and well in 2025. So we'll fight each other and try to force somebody else. Even though we built their infrastructure, they're not going out without a fight. So you have people that tell me, oh, Lance, you ran and left America and you left the fight. What fight? We're fighting each other more than we should be fighting those powers that be that suck the energy from us and benefit from us and give themselves nice gated communities and give themselves nice retirement and give themselves nice vehicles and spas so they can keep themselves in shape, and supermarkets that we have to go to because there's a food desert where we live and cheap sugary foods. But I can rant and rave all day long. Out of the almost 6,000 videos they took down from our old channel, this is the way I've always talked. It's not going to change. But I tell you one thing, I'm going to talk less and less about it. Because if you're on a sinking ship and you don't understand that you have to have a sense of urgency to not drown, even if you know how to swim, why do you want to sink on a ship when there's sharks around ready to devour you? You want to sink in ship and can't pay your mortgage, but you don't have a bank that's going to help you out. So when the ship sinks of that foreclosure that comes your way, you have other people who don't look like you ready to capitalize. and purchase your home. And after a while, in the black neighborhood, you look funny and say, hey man, wait, they're building something over there. What are they building? That's a little shop they're building over there. What? Starbucks? It's a black neighborhood. What is a Starbucks doing over here? And then you see the wayward brothers who are out all night on the corner selling their pharmaceuticals. This is not every black neighborhood, but this is reality. And you see that little white woman who's about 5'2", 90 pounds, with her little poodle walking brave, because she knows that that is going to be her neighborhood. She has no fear of you because she goes to the community meetings. And if you as much as say the wrong thing, the cops are going to swoop down on you and you think, well, this is my hood. No, it's not your neighborhood. You didn't make it your neighborhood. How is it that a different race of people can plot and plan years before you even realize they're plotting and planning? They go to the neighborhood meetings. They cast the votes. They get to know who's who. They grease the palms of the politicians who become their whores. You know, a whore will lay down with anybody. A whore wants to make money no matter what it is. You pay the whore enough, the whore is going to do what you want them to do. You just have to negotiate the price with that prostitute, with that whore. And most politicians are whores. You grease their palm and you give them a benefit, they're going to do what you want. And this is why so many of your neighborhoods are being pulled from under your feet and you're clueless. Because when you should be getting up on that Monday morning off, or the times where they have those meetings, I've gone to community meetings in Orlando, Florida, in certain hoods with people, smaller level politicians that I did video work for. If you know me long enough, you'll remember. And I've gotten up, even if it's not my particular neighborhood, because I wanted to see for myself. And the only two black people there, I'll call her name. She ran for that particular position a couple times, LaWanna Geltzer and me. And I wasn't running for nothing but white folks. This is why they have it 7 o'clock in the morning. And some of us don't go in till 5:30, 6 in the morning. Man, I'm messed up, man. I'm going to sleep the whole day, man. Man, you got me out here drinking, man. And they're deciding how the concrete is going to go on the curb, or how far the curb is going to push out a little more in the renovation of what you think is your neighborhood. But then Al Sharpton comes to line his pockets with money. Talk about, we need to boycott. And so you follow behind him. He gets paid, and you may have a few little opportunities. And the cycle continues because Al Sharpton is a whore too. Jesse Jackson is a whore too, but nobody wants to say it. He's got a little Alzheimer's right now, but that doesn't stop you from the wrath of what you've done. You can be a mass murderer and get sick. Well, you know he has a terminal illness, so you're still going to get sentenced because you're the one who did the crime. What's up with that? Or we live a life of being a whore like these politicians, and they transition, they pass away, and the pastor rewrites their life. And we sit here and we're at the funeral looking at each other like, whose life is he talking about? Because it surely wasn't the person I know. That's why most funerals are gossip fests, where you sit by the parking lot and you talk the real deal about that person's life. I want to make a few more points, and then I'm going to talk about a few other things. Okay, here we go. Building self-sufficiency and unity. Instead of focusing solely on boycotts and DEI, we must redirect our energy towards self-empowerment and collaboration. Here's how we can start. Number one, celebrate each other. Make a conscious effort to uplift and support Black individuals whether they're from America, Africa, or the Caribbean or beyond. 2, invest in Black-owned businesses. Spend your dollars within the community to build economic power and self-reliance. How many times? Look, most of us were born hearing this. Do we do it? Most of the time when we have a Black business in our neighborhood, them prices too high, man. That's a brother. He should come down and give us the hookup. Well, don't you know, no matter what color you are, how hard it is and challenging it is to start a business and sustain it? Much less people from other races and other communities to come and support the Black business. They really need you. And you talk about a hookup, or they sell the very same thing that they sell in the white communities, in the white stores, or the Asian stores, right? Indian stores, and we think what we get from there is better. How brainwashed we are. And really and truly, how stupid we are. AA Vibes. Kofi, welcome on in. Welcome on in. Yes. Thank you, Landon, for the good, kind words, and Kofi for being here. Let me go back to the other screen. And let me read off another point. I'm going to get all of it out. We're going to tarry on this one. Number 3, embrace sacrifice. Be willing to endure short-term discomfort for long-term progress. Look, I ain't going to tell all my business, but this, what you see built behind me, is a very small piece of the whole that you don't see. Maybe you'll see, some people will see it. I've shown it's still a work in progress, but it's a sacrifice, y'all. A big sacrifice. It's my final push. And I don't mean final in life like I'm gonna croak tomorrow. If the Creator wants to take me, well, what can I do? Hopefully he'll say, job well done. But what I mean by final, this is my pivot, right? When you're a fighter and you get in position, you have the back leg and you have the other leg, and you pivot off of one. Everything comes off of that one. The power comes from that back leg. You push off and you move around, but you have to have a foundation. And to have a strong foundation, I had to make a move, and Mr. SCURV and I had to make a move where it may be across the lake called the Atlantic Ocean, because it's only a body of water. But I can build something where I don't have to worry about a foreclosure because it's paid for already. That's long-term thinking, but it's also sacrifice. Doesn't mean I'm better than anybody. If I need to get to America, it's only a 9-hour flight from here to New York City. So say I start out at 6 a.m. and you wake up at 6 a.m. and you're in New York City, and change it around depending on what state that you're in. And you have to be to work by 9. And I got a 9-hour flight that I started at 6 a.m. and I'm there by 3. I'm already outside your job waiting for you for 2 hours. Been there already. I look at it in terms of time, not distance. But the move this way made it where I don't have to worry about certain things anymore, so I'm free and clear. So at this timing of my life, the next 10 years, if I'm granted that, I'm 62 in April, 10 years from now, I'll be 72, but I can get more work than I've gotten done in the previous 24 years that I've been online since 2001. With less hassle, no distraction, more peace right there. Just like Muhammad Ali when he had his training camp in Deer Lake, Pennsylvania. There were no distractions. So for me to write books and do videos and do my artwork, I'm good. If I want to come to America, I'll do it unannounced. I can drop in when I want and enjoy what I need to enjoy. I'm gone. See, we have to know what it is that we want in this life. We can't just sit around and say, oh, when I hit the lottery one day, How many people do you know hit the lottery? Maybe a little bit. You hit the number, local number. And I got $13,000 on the hit on that number. But how often does that happen? I always say it, and I'm going to say it in every show. You are your own lottery. And a business idea hit me from everything that I already have as far as my programs on the computer. I have the tools already. It's something completely different than YouTube. I'm like, man, I can automate this, get advertising money, put that into something else. This runs itself. You got to be smart. But if I'm hating on the next person, if I'm breaking my Venetian blinds to see what it is they're doing, and when I see progress, I get mad. I have no time to get mad or get jealous at anybody. That's why I can be effective. I look at myself every day. Say, man, I'm getting a little older. But I'm not getting as run down as people who have venom in their heart, envy in their heart, jealousy in their heart. That ages you. Ain't no filters on this. I take care of myself. I'm going to sleep till I wake up. And when I wake up, I'm going to wake up with positivity. I'm going to get my naked body right out in the sun. Soak up all the rays and that nutrition that we don't even know about. But we have to take care of ourselves as a single person. I mean, if you're married, you're still a single entity. And we have to take care of ourselves as a community. Imagine your body did not unify and work in unison. You know the joke about the anus? And the eyes say, well, if I go, you can't see anything. Nose says, well, if I'm not pulling in the air, it's no good. And the mouth says, hey, if you can't eat, you messed up. And the anus says, listen, I don't care what part of the body is talking about how important it is. If I back up and I clinch up and I don't work, you all going to hell. Because if you can't go to the bathroom and expel, you're in trouble. Right? So we're all in trouble when we don't have that sense of unity. Let's get to the next point. Educate ourselves and our children. Teach financial literacy, history, and skills that promote independence and resilience. You see, we can't wait for TV or the smartphone to teach our children, and you damn sure can't depend on the others in the schools of indoctrination to do right by your children, because they just represent a paycheck. And I tell you what I truly believe, that many of these teachers in these schools, they're there to monitor the brilliant ones who are there. You sit up a little bit, crap my back. They're there to monitor them and discourage them from going higher. Well, we got a live one coming up. There's that SCURV kid. I wonder what kind of parents he has. He's talking kind of bright. He's a little aware. I heard what he was talking about. Got to watch him. I've had teachers in elementary school that I knew despised me because I wasn't going for the okey doke. I learned what they were teaching, but I was taught more stuff at home. And this is the importance. But if you're into your finger popping and going to the club and dropping your kids off and not being around them and putting something good in them, but then again, how can you put something good in them when you have no interest or nothing good to put in them? They're there because of the biological function. It's a circumstantial thing. And I know that, many people don't say, well, we're going to plan to make a child tonight. Some do. You should live your life to be in a position to do that. That's a cycle of life. How many times when I used to drive the bus in Orlando, Florida, I used to hear the conversation generally. Hey, man, what's up? You called me, man? Yeah, I called you, man. Oh, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. Well, what's up? Man, I think that girl pregnant, man. I wasn't trying to do that. Man, I couldn't, man, we were having fun and everything like that. How could she do that to me? What you mean? It takes two. You know what happens when you run up in there with nothing on you. You go outside with no raincoat, you're going to get wet. Because now they represent an obstacle for you getting more pleasure now. But that is the end result of the pleasure that you have, and you're not ready for the responsibility. So stop playing yourself. Man, I got to live for child support today, man. I ain't got no money for that. Then don't go up in there. It's good in there, but don't go up in there. Because that's how you create life. And if you do it, you're responsible. These things, there's nothing I said on this list that you haven't heard already. That's why I'm in my old man phase right now. And I say there's a lot of us who are just damn stupid. Just damn stupid. Number 5, unify in purpose. Set aside petty disputes and come together for common goals that benefit the entire community. I don't know about that energy that just wants to tear you down, where they'll talk a good talk when they want something out of you, but there's no sense of community. There's actual just envy, communal envy. I separate myself from that type of stuff. And I believe in community, and I know in community, but you have to weed out these people who will not want to unify in purpose. They will talk it, but they don't mean it. So I'm not against separating yourself, because in this world, if you've ever had an elder tell you this, that you're only going to have but a handful of people in your life who are going to truly be sincere, who you can call friend. And it's true. So all those other people, what were they? And I don't mean everybody you meet has to be a friend, but everybody's not going to be. And you will find yourself sometimes in life saying to yourself, damn, I ain't got nobody in my corner. You know what I mean? Those who I thought weren't. But you get wise enough after a while in this life, and you can discern things and you can see it coming, and it won't shock you. And you have to be more self-sufficient within yourself. You have to be prepared to walk alone. Even though unity is the best thing, don't get so philosophical and so romantic on these ideals and think you can just talk the talk and it happens that way. You have to be able to pick and choose your team. It's better to have 3 or 4 people who are really about it than to want to have this huge entourage around you. And many of the narcissistically inclined of us are, we want that huge, because, there's more people to listen to our rhetoric. But most people are not really down for the sacrifice, even for themselves. No, they're not down for it. It's too painful. What you mean, leave the comfort zone and sacrifice for years? I recently mapped out something that I want to do in a year's time, this time next year, January. And for me to accomplish that, there's things I have to do from now. For me to accomplish that, there are things I have to save, and certain amounts of money I have to save from a few months from now, because there's other goals that I have. That's just the way it is. If I want that, I can do it. I am my own lottery ticket. I may not have a couple million just to give to myself, but I ain't wasting nothing, and I'm going to move forward with purpose. And I can't unify with you if you pulling this way, this one's pulling that way, and I know for me I have to go straight ahead. Can't do it. And people will waste your time a little bit every day under the name of unifying. We're all in this together. Let's unify. But tell me your business. We're all in this together. Let's unify. How much money you got? How much you make? How much you pay for your house? How are you making it? Why you want to know all that? And you can tell those things when you vet people. But don't let people waste your energy that you can give to yourself, because you know what? It's better when you're synergistic, meaning that if you have two people who are really, really about it, it's like 25 people. If you got 3 people, I'm not saying the numbers are exact, but if you got 3 people, do or die, stay up all night to get something done. Get up early, a little tired, but we're going to get this done. We can rest later on. We're going to sacrifice. We got that little bag of rice, a little piece of chicken, a little broccoli. Let's put it together. Let's make a little lemonade and sip it. And we ain't going to get the money till another 5 days, but we're going to make this through. And when we get money, we're going to nurse it, because we want that to move in a synergistic way also. And you can move mountains, but most of us don't think that way. Oh, you got that car? I'm going to make sure I'm going to get the latest one better than his. Lying about people, making up things, egos hurt, wanting to compete, keep up with people. Look, I can't be bothered with you if you like that. I can't do it. How does the song go? I'm not going to be able to do it. Angie Young, welcome on in. Let's see what she says. I just cannot understand why so many fellow and any and everyone look within oneself, so much manipulation, read and research on your own. Yes. I would not even waste my time at all. No way. I'm grateful for my parents, so grateful for a peaceful mind. I'm with you on that. Sweet D, welcome on in. Chrissy, welcome on in. Yes, Landon Price again, once again. Passenger got shot by stray bullet recently while riding Orlando bus. Yeah. Rightly so. Ride or die. That's right. Rightly so. That's my people right there. Sweet D, well, you all are my people. You know that. Yeah, we use the word friend too loosely. But you're right, Landon Price. I used to drive the Lynx bus in Orlando for many years. Many of the folks who used to ride with me watch the show. They know I'm in Africa now. And I was speaking on that for many years ago. But yes, there are certain neighborhoods, especially on New Year's Day, when they're shooting not only up or in the ground, but they're shooting at the bus. One of the only reasons why my bus never really got shot at for recreation, they shoot at the bus for recreation. A lot of them are not trying to shoot the people, but come on, how are you going to shoot at the bus? The people are sitting there. That's crazy, right? But it happens, and we have idle minds, and we have people who just think, they just don't value life. It used to scare. I'm not gonna lie. You're driving down a dark street in the so-called hood. Boom, boom, and we're not talking about something far away. You're actually hearing it. And you're like, oh man, please don't shoot me in the head. And the supervisors were so cold about it. You get them on the radio, it's like, listen, there's nobody on my bus. I know at this time when I go through this route that goes through a private neighborhood, close neighborhood, nobody's coming out of there this time of night. I'm requesting that I don't go in because there's too much bullets flying. Well, you have to complete the route. Okay. Sat right there and didn't complete nothing. I'm not risking that for that. Within reason, you do your job, you do what you have to do, but I had things to do. Positive things. That's why these jobs, they just have you as a you leave your job, there'll be somebody there the next day to take your place, depending on what the position is. If it's a higher position with special skills, it may take a little bit of time extra, but bottom line is you're replaceable. You may have the human element and the emotions and the people that you like there, some you don't like, whatever. But if you're gone, remember, this is just a business. It's just a business. Let me get on with these points so I can freestyle, because there's something else I want to talk about other than this topic. Okay. Develop long-term strategies. Shift our focus from immediate gains to sustainable solutions that bring generational wealth and influence. Generational wealth, y'all. Wealth that ain't going nowhere. Wealth that means you so wealthy that your great-great-great-great-grandchildren will eat from that. But see, we don't think that way because most of us are not wealthy. We may get temporarily Negro rich, and I'm saying Negro to not say the other N word to be nice. I said it already, but generational wealth. I was once reading a book. What was it named? Many years ago, back in the 80s, named The Millionaire Next Door. And with The Millionaire Next Door, they were basically speaking about people who were wealthy, people who appeared to be wealthy. They might have been temporarily rich, but when we see, and why when you want to scratch a part of you is always just beyond. And I tell you, I hurt my shoulder the other night, fell out the bed. I ain't gonna lie, I rolled and fell out the bed. You know, these are not wooden floors. These floors are poured concrete. It was like, I fell so hard to the ground, I had to go run to the bathroom. It's like a body blow. Man, my shoulder ain't been right since. Man. Anyway, in the book, they were speaking about different professions, right? And many parents will tell the child, well, when you grow up, I want you to be a doctor or I want you to be a lawyer. You know, because they feel that they're making money, and they are making money. But guess what? What I learned from that book, especially about generational wealth, is that nobody ever says, when you grow up, I want you to own a lumber yard. Who says that? But the dude who owns the lumber yard and wears those holy jeans, and he's working on a big lumber yard, but they have building materials also, you know, cinder blocks, wood, and all kind of stuff. It's not pretty. You may have a kind of all right pickup truck, but you don't associate that with generational wealth, which, unless it runs itself, is not generational yet. But it's a business that can be passed down. But look at the lawyer. He might make a lot of money. And that's not all lawyers. The majority of lawyers don't make big money. You see those public defenders that come for free when you're incarcerated? How much do you think they're really making? They're barely making it. But let's say the top lawyers, not the top, like the Johnny Cochrans that, you know, God rest his soul, or other ones who make money, but those who you would think, they got to pay back for that schooling. They got to look successful, the ones who are trying to get that bread. A lot of them feel they have to drive a nice car, have a nice watch, have a nice suit, big wardrobe. It's a high consumption profession. So not only are you starting out in debt for the most part to pay back for your schooling, you have to be presentable. If you have a client, they're not taking you out to dinner. You may have to spring for that because it may be such a lucrative case that you want to treat them nice. So you end up spending a lot. Doctors, medical school. Do you think that's cheap? You know how many doctors are still paying their way out of medical school, and they've been out of medical school and they 50 years old still paying. And they may be a type of doctor that has to be on call in the middle of the night. They get that call, they got to go. So they're not living healthy. Most of the time, the doctors don't even outlive the patients. And they're supposed to know. They're supposed to be this epitome of health. They get the pot belly and they're walking all tired and looking all beat up. You want somebody taking care of you like that or suggesting something to you? I know a little bit about nutrition because of my days in bodybuilding and studying nutrition. And I've had doctors give me checkups and tell me or ask me or explain something to them about the food I'm eating and the way I'm eating for the purpose, a certain purpose. And they didn't have a clue because most doctors don't have to know about nutrition. They take a little class every few months and get upgraded on something, but they don't understand the nuts and bolts and the hands-on thing on how food works when it hits your body. To stay strong. I ain't been in the gym since 1985. 1985, 95, 2005, 2015, 2025, 40 years. And my strength is not a muscular strength like it used to be, but it's a core strength from taking care of myself, knowledge. So I'm healthier than most doctors that I go to. So we have to know how to live and live in balance. I don't know how I got here. I'm kind of ranting. I know you'll like when I just go off like that. I'm like that crazy man at the bus stop who's making sense for a little while until you start really talking crazy. Let me make this other points here. Where was I? Hold each other accountable. I'm gonna run straight through this because there's a few more, and then there's a little clip that I want to play. I'm going to speak about something. Hold each other accountable. Encourage accountability within the community without resorting to destructive criticism. Now, you know, when the kids a couple doors down do something and you want to correct them, don't you be putting your hand on my child. Don't you say nothing to my baby. That's my child. Really and truly. But what you have done to correct them may keep them out of jail later on. Number 8. Reject negative narratives. Refuse to internalize stereotypes and promote positive representations of Black culture. How easy is it for us to fall into this and our children to fall into this? You got grown men glorifying stupidity. Had a grown man with a family, hey, I'm a gunman, I'm a gunman. You dumb fool. When was the last time you picked up a book and read it? Can you tell your children something of worth, of value? Your children can't grow up and say, hey, my daddy said them gunman, and don't even know how to handle a pistol or a weapon. Get out of here. Negative narratives. Grown men acting like little boys. Grown men want the attention like little boys. You didn't have anything growing up, so what little you got you open. But we done did that already. You know what I mean? Number 9, collaborate across borders. Strengthen ties with Black communities worldwide to build a global network of support and resources. Worldwide. Like I made that video on the page, and I'll call his name Tariq Nasheed. I spoke about him, and a lot of people were angry. I'm sorry. They unsubscribed. And yeah, go on. Please do. Don't come back. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. But yeah, I mean, we have the internet. Why can't we grow on a global level and for people? And I'm going to share this link again. I'm going to tell you, somebody, I'm not going to say somebody, but I'm going to just say it. That damn government went into my website recently and took away my memorandum 46 link that I've been sharing because of what I just said with, let me pull this back down again. Where I said, what was, okay, here it is. I'm sorry. I got so much here I'm looking at about collaborating across borders. They don't want us to unify on a worldwide level, and the government has an intercepted document, or there was a document intercepted that the government had, and it came out, and I just called the modern day Willie Lynch letter. And I'm gonna drop the link, and I want you all to drop the link as much as you can, because they don't want me to get this out, right? And that's on my site, and that's about memorandum 46. Everybody, why aren't they teaching that in school? And why did they go on my website and make it disappear? It was done about 3-4 days ago. I went looking for it. And I'm like, wait a second, where did it go? They don't want that getting out. So if you copy and paste it, you don't have to keep it on the website if you can, because they may remove it again. Copy and paste it and just save it somewhere. But read through that. The first little part, I mean, you could read it in 20 minutes, 15 minutes, maybe 10, right? But understand that the government is not on our side. And this is why they have these social media lip gloss agents turning us against each other on a global level, because we're supposed to only be a little pet in America, thinking no more further than the borders, no more than the state we're in, no more than the city we're in, no more than the hood or neighborhood we're in. Yes, we're always being monitored, Diane. Welcome on in, Diane. Always. Yeah. Rick Mania said low IQ with guns never end well. You're right about that. Right about that. Foolish people. But I'm going to continue on with this, but I'm going to always drop that link that's on the homepage of LANCESCURV.com. To the right side, a little bit going down. If you're on the computer, you keep scrolling down, you'll find it. Look at it. I didn't make that up. Only thing I made up was the title. And I have to keep it just in case it's removed from my site again. I look over my stuff every single day and maintain my website myself. I have a friend of mine that does the heavy lifting when I need it, deep coding and stuff, but I'm on my stuff. I made this banner right before the show. Every aspect of the shows, I do it solo. All right. So I make sure, so I know my stuff. It's like when you live alone and you leave things a certain way in your house and something's been moved. Like, who's been in here? Somebody was in here. Somebody was in here. Let's finish this up. Be our own opportunity. Recognize that true progress will come from within. We must create opportunities for ourselves rather than waiting for others to include us. That's right. This DEI thing and affirmative action, fine. Let's create our own opportunities. Don't we have our own needs? Why is it that people that don't look like us are in our neighborhoods servicing our own needs? Why aren't we doing it? Think about that. Reverend Al Sharpton's call for a boycott is a reminder of the power of collective action, but it's also a wake-up call. Boycotts alone won't save us. DEI programs and affirmative action can open doors, but they cannot force us to walk through them united. The time has come to take off the training wheels and realize our potential as a people. Unity, self-reliance, and a commitment to progress are the keys to breaking free from the cycles of dependency and division. Until we embrace these principles, no external policy or boycott will ever work. It'll never work. It ain't working. Things are getting worse. I'm not a doomsayer. I'm not negative. Well, you being negative, man. You know, we got somebody who just won an Academy Award, or there's somebody they hit the lottery. Is that progress? They'll always parade some of us around to say, "Oh well, yes, you're included and you're making it. You can be the best rapper too." Well, who wants to be that? Let's shoot higher. See what I mean? And our Sharpton is just as much of a problem. Because you know what? Certain areas he ain't going to talk to a certain way. You ain't going to see him talk to the small hats a certain way. Oh, no. He'll shake down a corporation here and there, but he's not going to go to the real issue in the Black community of the people who are exploiting us. And of course, I have to speak in a coded way. He ain't going to go to them. That will shut you down. And they'll do it with confidence because they know we have no unity and no backing of a community. We need to be able to ride and die each other until they are on their way to victory. All those who seek to exploit us, I'm going to say it again. They're on their way to victory over us collectively. Now, some of us can get away, but they have such a stronghold on us. They've studied us. We're a battery to them. We keep giving them our energy. We keep giving them our talents, our value, our pleasure. Oh, they love to take the pleasure from us. Our muscle and our might and our brilliance. It goes right into their grasp. And they pick from it what they want. They share it with their buddies. And we have a little bit, oh yeah, you can have a little bit of this, but you're never gonna, we're gonna keep, let me just say it the street way. They're gonna keep riding our ass. They're gonna get it good. They're gonna get it good. Yeah, okay, I'm done with her. Go ahead, take it. Sorry to be lewd. But that's what it is. They're gang banging the black community. And whose fault is it? It's ours. Because we bend over and spread the cheeks. And we don't tell it like it is to our young ones. And we let them go right into the system. Because that's what it is. You know, brothers, when you getting it and you about to hit that magic moment, somebody can shoot you in your side. Oh, I know I got shot, but I got to get this nut. They ain't never going to stop. Nobody in power over any other people relinquished it and got an aha moment. Oh, you know what? I think it's the right thing to do to just stop. No. You want to keep riding that ass. And as long as you let them, they're going to keep on doing it. Look, if we can cold turkey the system and not go to the jobs, well, how are you going to get money, SCURV? You're not going to, what you mean? You crazy. Let all the people who have money, who are millionaires and billionaires say, hey, we got this country here. All y'all get up out of there right now. I'm paying the way. I have lodging for you. All the things you did in America, you come here and you do this way. And you have a spirit of unity. And you move forward knowing this. Why can't it be this way? But you know what? It ain't going to be that way as long as you're tied up in the way you think. People ask me every day, hey, man, you go outside at night? I say, yeah, my whole property has a tall wall around it. But be careful of them lions and them tigers. Are you ignorant? Evidently you are. You do have that in Africa, nowhere near here. Stereotypes, propaganda, falsehoods have you thinking all kind of ways. Unbelievable. Let me find this clip. I want to ask you something about this clip here. Okay, where is it? Okay, present. Share screen. I think it's this one. Okay, we're going to share this one. Now the sound is off of it. Okay, let me go here. I got the different background there. How am I going to clean this mess up? Let me clean this mess up. First, let me change this background. That's such a distraction. That was from the other day, or last night. We did a show with Neil Frazier. Now let me maximize the screen. One step at a time, one step at a time. I think it's already maximized. Okay, wait now. There you go. Now I'm going to cut the sound on exactly when it starts. I don't want you to... This guy's talking about Michelle Obama not going to the inauguration or Jimmy Carter's funeral and how it's disrespectful. I'm waiting for it to start. I'm gonna let it roll twice so you can hear it. I'm gonna let this part play, but I'm gonna let it roll.
Y'all champion that shit, and y'all be wondering the fuck why, man. Shit crazy, bro. Man, this is the unpopular truth, but it's the fucking truth. Michelle Obama not showing up at that inauguration with her husband, the president, who's former president of the United States, made black women look bad to the world and added on to the stereotype of the shit that they say about y'all, man, here in America, man, and around the world. Ain't no way. That's her husband. He's the leader of that family. She's supposed to show up and support that man, whether she liked it or not. It was only an hour or two of her fucking life. She could have got them and supported that man. It's nothing unreasonable for her to show up and support her man to see the new president in of the United States. Man, y'all, and a lot of y'all did not check that shit. A lot of y'all championed that shit. And y'all be wondering the fuck why, man. Shit crazy, bro.
Let it run again.
Man, this is the unpopular truth, but it's the fucking truth. Michelle Obama not showing up at that inauguration with her husband, the president, who's former president of the United States, made black women look bad to the world and added on to the stereotype of the shit that they say about y'all, man, here in America, man, and around the world. Ain't no way. That's her husband. He's the leader of that family. She's supposed to show up and support that man, whether she liked it or not. It was only an hour or two of her fucking life, she could have goddamn supported that man. It's nothing unreasonable for her to show up and support her man to see the new president in of the United States. Man, y'all, and a lot of y'all did not check that shit. A lot of y'all championed that shit. And y'all wondering the fuck why, man. Shit crazy.
Okay, off. All right, we're done with that. Yeah, I just wanted to speak about that. You know, Michelle Obama didn't go with Barack Obama. It's Jimmy Carter, former President Jimmy Carter's funeral. He made it to 100 years old. With the inauguration, we know that she doesn't dig Trump too much, but it's bad look. Bad look. Many people back in the day, before we started to see the truth about them, there was such a high praise, and Michelle Obama was hanging out with Oprah and on the cover of Oprah's magazine, and she was such a dignified Black woman and this and that. I'm not going to say I'm a trasher just because of this, but the attitude, like, you don't let these people take away how you present yourself to the world. And nobody ever did that before, right? And you're going to do that. It does make us look bad. Like, okay, some people say, well, I can't shoulder the weight of an entire race if I do something that's bad. It's not like you're scared of anybody, but you're an example, or supposed to be an example of Black love. Even though we know Barack Obama didn't have the typical, stereotypical, or typical, or he didn't have the Black man experience in America. He was chosen for a long time. One of the richest presidents ever, over Trump. You know, Judge Joe Brown explained that on my show years ago. And I think I have it uploaded on the present channel, if you dig deep enough. But she had that experience. And I heard little things from before, not the gossip stuff, but, you know, she was a tough one in her position on that job where they met. It's okay. But now you're going to do that, and so many people look up to you, and it's not like, oh, you got to tap dance to the white man and go. No, you're not. It's not about that. It's about, regardless as to how you feel, you're thinking above, because you are who you are, and you represent so much to the world and the people who look like you and who respect you, even if they don't anymore respect your politics. You know, and I don't care about Barack Obama. He doesn't really care about us. But the imagery, because some people don't care what he's about. I always knew he was a little snake. I never got caught up into the whole mania of him. I had hope that, you know, but quickly, once I sniffed it, I already knew what it was. Like when I used to drive the bus and people would get on, and at the time I was a very strict vegan. So you pick up on smells, you pick up on all kind of stuff. I mean, if a gnat farted in a hurricane 1,000 miles away, I could be, pick up on everything. People would get on the bus, well-dressed, a little bit of jewelry, dignified, little Bible in their hand, and a crackhead. I would know it. I knew who was an alcoholic. I knew who, you know, about what was coming out of their system. You see what I mean? You have that gift of discernment after a while. And in discerning Michelle Obama from a distance, because I never shared the same room with her, I never met her, but I study people, and you see this, as of recent, she's not the same person anymore. And I know maybe she doesn't like the political world and things that were said about her. They calling her a man, they calling her a monkey. I understand that, but that's what you sign up for. And if you understand this, you'll toughen up your exterior. You know how this world can be. I know how this world can be. Hell, do a YouTube channel and see if half the time the kind of notes and emails and text. My number's out there. It's going to scroll across the bottom. I get threats sometime. I'm going to start recording some of these things. Yeah. I don't care. You threaten me, you get threatened back. Look, it's universal law. In boxing, if I throw a left jab, well, guess what? All under here is open. So you can come with a shot to the body. If you get aggressive on me, you're open to be aggressive. It's just for me now to see what you're trying to do to me and counter you back real quick. Not because I'm thinking, but because I'm used to this through repetition, repetition, repetition. Boom, 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 boom. You do that, I do this. I don't have to think it. That's how it is. You go and threaten me, because I'll do it. You're going to take my life. I'm not trying to take nobody's life. You come to take my life, I'm taking yours. And we'll go inside and get a nice meal and sleep deep and not even care about it. Especially out here in this part of Africa, the police don't care. You come in on somebody's property and you try and you get it and you're not here no more, they'll just come, clean up the mess, and say, have a good night. You have to fill out the report and tell them what happened and everything. But it's not like America. Oh, no. We're afraid of that. That alone keeps people straight. That alone. What do you all think about Michelle Obama? Was she right to do what she did? She can do it. She did it. Forget the fact that we know that they're not all that they're cracked up to be. I'm just saying, in principle alone, a black couple married, have a little status, and she kind of shows out that way. Then again, maybe something happens so bad behind the scenes that we don't know. Aside from that, what do you all think about that? For those who are going to watch this later on as an uploaded video, put it down in the comments section and let me know. What's going on with the roosters, man? They making noise early. It's only 12:48. You know. Denise, how are you? I'm just seeing you. You're on Facebook, so the YouTube folks not seeing you. So I'll put you there, you know. And let me see here. Let me see. Rick McNear says, there used to be only one race, the human race. Political parties and governments decided it's better to have many races to create division. And many people ran with that when they saw that they can benefit from that, you know? And that's why we were treated the way we were treated, because we weren't even considered a race. So all these people running around talking the human race. Well, where were you when we were getting treated the way we were treated? You know what I mean? That's so funny how many have benefited down to the generations of what was done to us. And now they'll jump on, oh, it's the human race, haha. You know, aha, nothing. Get back in that space where you were and the privilege you have. And while where we are trying to struggle as the exploitation continues, well, I didn't have anything to do with that, but you're benefiting from it today. Don't try to jump out when you see the wrath of the Creator coming for you. Human race. A lot of us think that way, and that would be, in a perfect world, a nice way to think. But we weren't even a race. 3/5 of a human being, not even that much. And so many, oh, well, we're the human race. Please, when your granddaddy was sitting around the dinner table with you telling you about us and saying all them bad things, you didn't say nothing then. What did you say, Rick? She's scared because her and Barry are going to Diddy parties. Woo! Woo! Barry is a CIA creation. That I know. Fake birth certificate, fake social. Exactly. He's not even, you know. Chrissy approves, and she's laughing too. It was petty. Yeah, they didn't consider us human. We were property. Not even human, but just property. Imagine that. Sisters, imagine that you laying wherever you're sleeping. They didn't give you the best accommodations, and you get a knock on the door, and there's this big stink, alcohol in his breath stink behind. They didn't have a good self-care in those days. This man come and want to jump up on top of you. Your stomach might be hurting. You might be feeling sick. You might have an injury. Might be that time of the month and he want to climb on top of you and do what he want to do and leave you there. And you got to get up in the night and clean yourself off. And even when you clean yourself off, you don't even feel clean. I've seen situations where women have been violated and they just can't shower enough. They'll be an hour and a half and don't feel clean, 2 hours and letting the water run, and just because you're violated. Did they have showers like that back then? No, you better get that water and put it in a bucket. Did they have buckets like that then? I don't know. To go down by the stream or something. They didn't care. And you still had to get up early the next morning and go on and do what you had to do and see them and can't say nothing. Wasn't pretty. Cutting babies out the stomach and the things when you learn when you come to these enslavement castles. Well, some of your own people. So look, we did that show and we straightened that whole thing out a long time ago. And I think I'm going to have to bring Dr. Issa on again, a history professor, so he can set it straight. You know? You see what I mean? Let me see what Sister Chrissy said. The Prince is small. Brother Lance, would you consider writing a book? You have so much life wisdom to share. I've been saying that for almost like the last 20 years, but now I have time soon to do it. I'll say when this house is finished and before the year is out, we have a lot of things to do. I have nothing to do but focus and just pour stuff out. And thank you. That's a compliment that you would think that I was worthy of such a thing, but I have to. Dear friend of mine, she just finished writing the book and we did a little interview, and I'm so proud of her. And she took me through the steps with her, you know, and she did it within the year. And once I start, I want to keep on going, because that's something that you can't erase. You can put up a website and they can shut it down. They can hide it from people. But a book, good old fashioned book, you have that in your hand. You know what I mean? And you can't censor a book. Yeah, they can censor where it's sold, but once you get that book in your hand, that's on your coffee table, on your side table next to your bed, then nobody can stop that. You know, I was speaking to a guy. I never got a chance to get him on the show, but he had so many tens of thousands of books, not just books to say, but first editions from the late 1800s and stuff, that old collector's stuff. I think he had over 70,000 books that were original. Not like he went to the bookstore, oh, I'm gonna just buy a book. He had some of those too, but the most what he had were collector's editions. And what he told me was that in the books that were written, especially after slavery, by those who had the education to write or speak with someone who may not have had that education, and they would transcribe it, that there were some powerful books out there, and those small hats went around and purchased up all the books and came out with a second edition of those books. They got the publishing rights and everything. And in the second and third and fourth editions, they omitted certain bits of information that would have been powerful for us to know. So these people are wicked. They want to cry victim all the time for what happened. The deal, but you know, they're very wicked, and look what they're doing now in Palestine. See, so it is what it is. You got to know what you're dealing with. You got to know your enemy and study them. They study us, and we weren't even looking at them like an enemy, just these different people. We're just going about our way, loving each other. Look, in Africa, in the motherland, right here where I live, there were tribal disputes, little things, and they have elders and they settle things. But now they keep us going. And they use this phone, the cell phone, and the internet to keep our minds divided. We see each other different, you know, so it's a lot. So for those who how can I say it? Are open to see different. I hope they learn, but there's a lot of propaganda put out here. When you take your kids to the school, that's propaganda right there. They teach you what they want you to know to be programmed. We should all know that by now. We can still stop it, but we can't get everybody. It's like a 18-wheeler barreling down the highway at 110 miles an hour. You can't stop on a dime. We have an unrighteous momentum about us. We're going toward the wrong things, and we're going there with increased speed. Look at the epidemics in Houston and in Atlanta with HIV. And we still going on with our foolishness and sticking our head in the sand and partying and putting ourselves at risk. We're out of control, big time. And I've seen the passage of time. There are people older than me, right? Much older. And I like to talk to the people. And I have friends of mine who are much older. I'll say they're friends. They're elders, but they're like friends. But most people in my age group, I don't know. They just don't see the passage of time. Doesn't mean, oh my God, we have to have a sense of urgency. The world is going to end. No, the world's going to go on. It's going to go on long after I'm gone. Hope so. All these nuclear bombs around, right? But many just don't understand that we need to have more of a sense of urgency to elevate and take the knowledge that we have, whether it's hands-on or something that we learned or taught in the school, which usually is not as effective. But if we can combine those things and leave the subsequent generations on a higher step, just like others do, they're hooking their young ones up, but they're training them and actually programming them properly. Nothing wrong with programming when it's righteous. But television program, internet programs, we're being programmed and we gravitate toward the decadence. We're reinforcing it in our young children. What do I mean? The song come on, you see the twerking and whatever. Behind closed doors, when you with your mate, if your woman want to twerk for you, that's a beautiful thing. You're adults, you're consenting adults, you're doing adult things, but you shouldn't have no little 4-year-old, get it, girl, ooh, look, she got the move, she go shake your moneymaker. Your moneymaker? So you telling them that's the way to make money. What's the other one I heard? Harry Bank. Harry Bank. Who thinks these things up? That's all you can do with that. Not create life. Not bring forth the next righteous generation to raise up as strong, mighty warriors for our ascension, so that when you're on, or if you have the luxury of a deathbed and you're on your way out, you can leave with a smile on your face. No, I did good. No. It's not like that most of the time because we're not aware. I always say time is an artificial construct, and it is the way man uses it. But we are time. We manifest that. It's a flow. Like with most traditional African ceremonies or gatherings, it doesn't start until the people show up. So you can say 2 o'clock. But if they don't all show up till 3:30, that's when it starts. And so when you're in a place where you don't have to adhere to time, like with me, I'm not working now, some job where I have to punch in. I work when I do this and do other things because I want to, because it comes from the inside. But now time for me doesn't exist. It's the sun. The sun's coming up, the sun's going down. I know where the sun is. I look at the time, but I don't have to. I can look at the moon and see by the way it's reflecting the sunlight. I can tell by the sky. I can tell by the animals. So I'm one with nature now. I'm with the best time. This morning I woke up late because I was up late. Y'all know I did that live stream like 4:30 in the morning. I was up and I went on the balcony And I was just talking for like, I think like 23 minutes or something. So, oh, I'm going to wake up late. And the reason why is because when I'm up with Malik Aziz doing the Muslim Street Show, I start the show at 12:30 a.m. Sunday morning for me, which is 7:30 p.m. Sunday on the East Coast, but it's Monday for me. So I stay up late. I end up pushing it. I wake up late and it messes up the next day for me. So that's why, right? And that's why I was up late, and I woke up at 10:13. I went to bed like 6, almost 6 o'clock. I didn't get enough sleep, but it's so peaceful up here, and I sleep deep most of the time that when I miss sleep, it's just a little while that I have to just move around a little bit more. And I wake, once I get to the sun, and first thing I do, I always go and stare at the sun. Stare as much as I can, stare, let it register. And that recalibrates my internal organs. It wakes me up. It gets me going. And you want to do that as much as you can throughout the day, especially as the sun's leaving you, sun's about to go down, you stare at it. It's a little easy to do so, but your body knows now that's the time when it's time to go down and rest. And people don't know that. I learned a lot out here, you know. SW, let's see what SW. March on, First Lady, into the next chapter of your life. You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Set the example, do you. Well, if most people thought that way and they're leaders of a country, we'd all be doomed. You know, it's just a matter of respecting your husband. But there are many people out here who feel that they don't have to respect their husband. I'm not into Barack Obama, really and truly. I know he was a fraud always, but as a representation, still there's a certain decorum that you're supposed to have publicly, but you don't see the others doing that. So many of us encourage, oh, do you and do whatever you want to do. Disobey your husband. Do what you want to do. Go out. You want another man? Go. You know. So this is what happens. And so the consequences from those examples that come, the subsequent generations see that. And I don't think Betty Shabazz would do that to Malcolm X. I don't think Coretta Scott King would have done that to Martin Luther King Jr. See what I mean? But we're in a whole different generation, a whole different mindset, the do you thing. And this is why we're not building black families anymore. Everybody wants to do their own thing according to their own rules, and nobody wants to submit to righteous principles anymore. So this is what happens. So what can you say? Let everybody do themselves and find themselves in a sorry state of affairs because of not submitting to righteous law, righteous rules. You do need righteous laws and righteous. It's not about government. It's not about even religion. There's certain things that must be done. Imagine a cat had kittens and didn't respect the fact that those are her kittens and that you're the mother and you have to be there to feed them kittens. They have to get that nipple and get that milk, right? You try to mess with any of those kittens, that cat will give its life because there's a certain proximity. If we're to build black families again, we can't have certain mentalities anymore that are taught to us by people who want us to be wayward. They want us to be out of control, and they sit back and laugh at us. They sit back and wear drama to them. And this is why they love social media, because they can watch us at our lowest point. And we encourage that. First thing we do is get a phone. We see a dispute in public with people that we know about to happen. First thing we do, we get the phone because we can upload this world star. That's the mentality. There's no more hands-on. Something jumps off in your neighborhood, you know the people. You don't try to. That's what I like about out here, though. I like that about out here. You got gossipers out here. You got nosy people out here. But in public, several times, and I might have to actually get my phone and show you disputes that are about to happen. And you see two men pointing and they're in each other's, and they never really throw a punch. I said, man, if this was New York City, they would have pulled out a pistol and shot each other already. But they go on, whatever. And the people, oh, hey. You got women out there selling fruit in the markets. And they jump up and leave their fruit and they come, everybody gets between. No, you cannot do this. I said, wow, how many lives would be saved if we had that mentality in America? But of course, we have to do our own thing. And that's the problem. We don't acknowledge a creator anymore. We don't acknowledge community. All that's a common thread that goes through every area of our life. Maybe it sounds corny now, I don't know. But if we go back to the original way, we'd be a lot better off as people. On that note, I want to wrap this down. And it's been a pleasure. I'll be back tomorrow. Well, not me, I'll be back tomorrow too, but I'll be on later on because right now it is for me 106. Is it? Yeah, 106. So on the East Coast, it is what now? 806. Okay, that's why I'm getting it right. I always get mixed up. When it goes back to 4 hours, I got to adjust my mind or whatever. So I'm just getting used to it now. But it's going to go to a 4 hour difference. Now out here in Ghana, it doesn't change. I love that. I don't want this thing changing. My sleep is all messed up. It's getting dark earlier or lighter earlier and all this stuff. Unbelievable. Listen, I'm about to start rambling. There's more stuff that I want to talk about. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. But it's always a pleasure. Thank you all so much. Let me get these screens ready. And I'm going to sign off because I'm feeling it a little bit. And I'm going to sleep good because I wanted to get this conversation out. And I wanted to talk about this. I'm not against DEI or affirmative action. But I think by now, after all these decades, we need to focus more on our unity and building up our own stuff so we don't need to be pushing up on somebody else. Because see, when we are qualified and we are the best at what we do, they come looking for us. You see what I mean? So, and they want to throw up and say, well, the people that the DEI opens the doors for, they're not as good. You go on thinking that. Let us harness our own power, our own strength, our own sense, our own knowledge, and be the best at what we do. And they'll be begging us to come on their side of town. And we got to build a community. We got to build a world for ourselves. We got to build our own thing. We don't have no time because you just want us to, take us away from building. No, we have to have that kind of mindset. We just can't whore out for money. Well, they're paying more. Let's go over there. Is it benefiting your people in the long run? But we don't have that sense of sacrifice. I like talking about this stuff. I can sit here. I'm out in Africa. I'm out of. I ain't got to talk about that stuff. No, I'm going to talk about it even more. That's part of what we have to do. Can't turn our back on our own people. I mean, if I had millions of dollars, I can build structures and say, hey, let's do this thing. Let's help folks to come out here and set up some work and take some talent. If I could do that, I'd do that. There are a lot of celebrities that come out here and go to the so-called slave dungeons because we're not slaves, we were enslaved, but that's what they call it. And they crying, oh man, it was so terrible what happened to us. And they got millions in the bank. I'm not saying take all your money and just throw it out. You work hard for it, maybe, but plant a little seed. But you can't do it because them small hats control you. So most of us don't even have the balls to do what we have to do, And it's sad, but what can you say? Anyway, let me sign off, y'all. Just want to say much love to you all. Salute to my brothers. Much love to my sisters. And I'm going to hit the sack. By the time this music is over, I'll be in the bed. It's always a pleasure. And if you have any topic that you want me to talk about, always feel free to suggest it. Also, let me not forget. Where is this link? Let me get this link. Got to get this link so you can subscribe to my my email list. So just in case they shut me down, then we can always stay in contact and you can always get the posts and the different things that we put out there. That's very, very important. Very, very important because there's still people who can't find me after they shut down the other channel. You know what I mean? So that's what it is. Where is this link? Bear with me, family. I'm going to drop this in the chat in a second. I think I scrolled up too far. Okay, there it is. There's a new platform called Substack. It's not a social media platform per se. It's more like an external website, and I'm on it. And a lot of my posts, not everyone will upload there, but it has an awesome email list that I have changed over from my original website over to there for many technical reasons. And that's it right there. Okay. You see the link? That's what the link looks like. Click on that, put your email address in there. And that is a foolproof way of us always being able to stay connected, because if they take down all the social media platforms and ban me and shut me down, I'll always be able to send you stuff through the email and we can stay connected. It's very simple to do, you know? So make sure to do that, family. And I'll keep on swinging and working hard. And it's not even working hard. I'm enjoying myself. It's really a wonderful thing. And being here with you gives me such a feeling of life. It's wonderful. All right. So anyway, much love to you all. Take care. And I will see you later on. Peace.
Actually, today I got to meet my friend Lance. Yes, I got to meet my friend Lance. This is my first time meeting him in person, and he's a very kind man, seriously. I do talk with him on phone, on WhatsApp, but I've never got to meet him. But today, it's just extraordinary. He's very, anything you want to know about life, anything you want to know about just him, anything you want to know about life, please. YouTube, Telegram, Instagram, Twitter, all the social media channels, you got to find him there. He's very inspiring. He's very positive. If you want anything positive about life, please subscribe to LANCESCURV. And then every day you got to see different videos, different talks, different topics about life. See you.